All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. Real Late Hot 97. My name's Peter Rosenberg, and yo, man, first time in my lab during COVID that I've had anyone come through, which is, I guess, a sign of the times, a positive sign of the times.
Yep.
Dallas, Texas' own Bobby Sessions in the building.
Yes, sir.
How are you, man? First of all, congratulations on what's been a very good couple years for you, man.
Man, I appreciate it. A lot of great things are manifesting, and we're making more history right now, being the first one in here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, from winning a Grammy to being the first one in Peter Rosenberg's home studio, you've really done it all.
I'm vaccinated, so it's up.
So let's start with the where do you want to start? Before we get your history, I want to let people know what you've done. You were a writer on Savage, correct? Mm-hmm. That's a Grammy.
That's a Grammy.
It won?
Yeah, it's like the song won 2, but I technically won 1.
Was that would be Rap Song of the Year?
Best rap song.
Yeah, that's a good one. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That's a nice one to have in your little feather in your cap.
Right.
And on top of that, you also linked up with Megan on the Coming to America soundtrack.
Right.
For a song that has also prominent placement in the movie, and you're on the song, so like your voice is in the movie too.
Yeah.
So what stands out as the moment of the year for you over the last 12 months?
The moment of the year, the last 12 months, the Grammy.
Yeah, take us through that night. Take us through that.
Yeah, so I was in LA in my hotel, and we were big about manifesting that win, seeing them pull the name out the envelope, and I'm seeing my name, Megan's name, Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Jay-Z's my favorite rapper ever. So I was just screaming in the hotel room. Megan had a celebratory dinner party after, and I remember leaving that night drunk as fuck.
And that was that.
That was that.
Now, do you get a physical trophy, or do you just get a little plaque or a little envelope or whatever?
So for best rap song, I get a physical trophy for that one. For best rap performance, I get a certificate for my participation.
But you get an actual trophy. Did the trophy come yet?
Not yet.
All right, but that's another celebration when that shows up to the crib.
Yeah, it's going straight to my parents' crib.
So before we talk about what you're working on now, and we play some of your music and talk about your upcoming project, how did you end up? You're 29 years old. You're from Dallas, Texas. Of course, Megan's from the general vicinity as well. How did you get to the point of writing on Savage? Is it a relationship with Megan that goes back a long time? Is it you just writing in studios for a long time? Take us through Bobby Sessions, the writer, before we talk about Bobby Sessions, the artist.
Sure. So back in 2015 and 16, I wrote for or was writing with different people in Dallas on stuff, but it's nothing that I really took too serious like that. It was never like a focus of mine, really. It
was just going to sessions, and no pun intended, and sitting around and helping out, being a part of things.
Yeah, just collaborating and really experimenting, getting in other people's worlds and getting in other people's spaces. And then in 2019, I was working on an early version of what is now Manifest, and I bumped into Jay White. Jay White did it, the producer in the studio. And I'm in one room and he's in another room, and he was like, yo, why don't you come in and work on some stuff that I'm doing? I'm like, sure, just on some law of attraction type shit. Mm-hmm. Like, let's just do shit, just have some new experiences. And then I did that. We had some cool sessions. A few months passed, and he's like, yo, I'm going out to California. Why don't you come out and work on some stuff out here? And I'm like, fuck it, let's do it. And I just kept just saying yes to things. The next thing I know, I got a FaceTime from Jay White, and I'm seeing, and Meg is there, and it's like, yo, let's link up, like let's collaborate on some shit. And then me and her linked up in I think January last year in Miami, and then that's where Savage was born. And that was a great experience because I got to be in her space and find out like we have a lot of the same habits. So like if I write a verse and I'm really into the verse, I have it memorized before I even get to the studio to lay it. And she did the same shit. Like she was somewhere and she wrote her verses, and she already had them memorized, and then she came and spit them without even looking at the phone. And her process is a lot like Wayne's process. Like they can go in the booth and they're saying like one line, and then they think of the next line, and then the next line. So
and then play it back and hear the line they did previously, and then add to it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, so it was good to see, okay, like this is a real MC, and I like being around people that are
Now
great.
You do that, or you do full-on memorization before you get there?
I do. So it depends. So like the creative process with making my album, I came in with no pre-written material. Everything was just on the spot, and I'm just reading it off the phone. But typically, before I was making this next project that's coming out, I would write it. I've rapped it like a million times just because my obsessive nature with trying to make the best thing possible. But I would say my process has switched up a little bit as of late. Yeah.
And how quickly during the session in Miami did you realize that you guys were on to something that was like not just a song, but like, did you realize it that night?
Yeah,
it was right away.
Right away. It was like this is a hit record. Like it was as clear as day. It was like a feeling because I'm big again with manifestation. I have this thing where I can visualize something in the future and I can feel the effects of it right now in the present. So it's like I knew because people be like, "Oh, you haven't had a hit before, so how do you know?" It's just like I know because I'm already in the future and I'm like present in it. So what this physical experience I'm having right now is just it's like lag in the universe. And I was so sure, and I was telling everybody, I'm like, yeah, this is a hit record.
Where does that come from in you? Have you always believed in that? In like, did you sit around as a kid and see things in the future playing out? Like, where does that, is it a religious, spiritual thing? Is it just a mental strength belief thing? Like, where does that come from?
I would say maybe an Arnold Palmer of a mental strength thing and a spiritual thing. I would say it started probably around 2013. So like a couple years before that, I had like the worst time of my life, like the summer of 2011. That was my introduction into anxiety.
What happened that summer in 2011?
So for whatever reason, I think I was one of those people that was like, if I saw someone that said they were depressed or they had anxiety, I thought that shit didn't apply to me. Mm-hmm. And then I had something happen when I was in school, and all of a sudden I had these negative thoughts that started to compound. And then it started to completely take over my mental, emotional, even physically. I just started looking sicker. And I knew the root cause of this negative vibe was stuff that was going on with my mind. And it was like this exhausting process, and it led me to going into Google and typing in like, how does the mind work? And then that led to me coming across the law of attraction, which came across me basically being a student of like the self-help section of the library. And I started getting into metaphysics and getting into, if I can control my thoughts, I can control my emotions, and I can control my habits. And then I started just visualizing and using, instead of my imagination being a burden, imagining all of these negative things that could happen, I like flipped the switch and thought about this dream life that I can create. And I've been like strengthening that skill ever since.
Are you a religious guy or no?
I grew up religious. I wouldn't describe myself as a religious person now. I would say I do have like a Christianity foundation, but I would describe myself as I have a relationship with a higher power for sure, and I communicate with that higher power a lot. And for people that's not into that, you can also describe it as communicating with this higher version of yourself and trying to close that gap.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people get very turned off to the higher power idea, and I'm not a traditionally religious person either. Yeah. But they get turned off to the higher power idea because it instantly connotes for them, Jesus Christ or Allah or God, whatever the thing is, as opposed to, your higher power can be love. It could be love of family. It could be, a version of yourself. It could be so many things, but that it's very useful to have that tool. All right, we're getting deep. I'm enjoying it. Bobby Sessions is here. Let's play Cog in the Machine. Should we do that?
Let's run it.
We'll play Cog in the Machine. This is a fire joint from Bobby that you can stream everywhere. Oh, do you have tell them the name of the album and the general release date? I don't know where you're at with date.
Yeah, sure. So Cog in the Machine is the first single off of my official debut album called Manifest. That will be releasing in the next 2 months.
And as you can see, at this point, if you're listening, I hope you understand why the album's called Manifest.
Yeah.
Bobby Sessions is here. It's Real 8 on Hot 97. Bobby Sessions in the building, literally my building, in my home, on Real Late. And I've been enjoying watching your come up and learning about you. I only got familiar, I don't know, sometime in the last year to 18 months, but I'll be honest, sometimes I'd give myself a late pass. I've been a little slow. I kept hearing people I respect say good things about you. So it's kind of happened organically. My brother mentioned you. Ebro mentioned you. I just kind of, your name just kind of kept popping up. And then when my boy Dro hit me up and was like, I got Bobby Sessions, I was like, this is the third person who I mess with, who I respect, who's saying something about Bobby Sessions.
Yeah.
And of course, like I said, heard your voice in Coming to America and saw that you definitely had a thing going. Where is Dallas, Texas these days in terms of hip hop? How do you view things? And historically, where does Megan now sit in sort of the Dallas hip hop pantheon?
That's a great question. To the first question, I feel like Dallas is in the greatest space that it's ever been in regards to a community of creatives getting opportunities that wasn't necessarily available before. And I think there was a lot of myths that was very dominant in conversations in like Dallas hip hop over the past like maybe 10 to 20 years, that you have to leave and go to New York or LA or Atlanta to gain any kind of traction. And now that myth from with Yellow Beezy and then now me, I guess on the more lyricist side, that myth is being shattered by the second. There's more and more opportunities from me winning Grammys or Yellow Beezy opening up for Chris Brown or a lot of other manifestations that are taking place. People are now starting to realize that we have a lot of resources at our disposal now that can propel us to whatever heights we're trying to go to. And in regards to Megan, with her coming out of Houston, and she collaborated with the most iconic Texas artist ever in Beyonce.
Well, and obviously Houston has a very different scene than Dallas does. But when but first of all, what's the distance? Like 90 minutes?
No, about
2.5 hours?
3 to 4 hours.
Because I did the drive once and I didn't think it was that bad. All right,
you were going 120.
I was, but in all fairness, I was carrying a lot of weight and there was a lot of speed on that night.
For sure.
But yeah, like in Texas in general. Let me correct that. Then Texas in general. Then where do you see Megan in terms of just where she sits in that pantheon? There's a great, especially because in Houston, there's of course an iconic history throughout the years.
Absolutely.
But in this very moment, Megan's up there.
She's the top. When you think of Texas artists as of right now, you think of her and Travis Scott. As far as like right now, like, and she's the hottest. We've seen her overcome an endless amount of obstacles and hurdles and suffer great tragedies and still wake up every day with a smile and outwork everybody. And on some real shit, I think because she's a woman, I don't think she gets the proper credit that she actually out-raps most of the male rappers as well. And I think she's starting to get her just due. I first discovered Meg from her doing a freestyle with Hollywood Bebe in Dallas, and now she has several #1 records, and she's doing all of these great things. So
was she, you mentioned Bebe, and was she moving around Texas prior to when we all knew of it? Like as part of her build, you saw it beforehand. People in Dallas knew earlier than the rest of the world.
The first thing I heard was a freestyle she did on a radio freestyle she did on K104, which it's a Dallas station, and from there it's just been, she transitioned from that to like just really making records, and she has this very infectious personality that I think everybody's gravitated towards, and we're extremely proud of her just as Texans.
Do people in Houston rep for Travis? Travis is because Travis is an interesting artist, right? He doesn't have a sound. First of all, he's created an entire sound.
Absolutely.
Like that's probably my favorite thing about Travis is that like you could just go to a party and if they just kind of played Travis records,
it's gonna work.
It could work. Like you could just have a vibe and have a night, but you wouldn't think, what is this? You'd think, oh, this is Travis Scott, unless you heard someone else who was biting Travis Scott.
Right.
So, but I say that to say that it's not like inherently, while there are elements of Texas that you can hear in it, like Chopped and Screwed is sort of, DJ Screw, you could argue, is just built into what Travis does by nature.
Yes.
But he also doesn't typify Texas sound either. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Whereas in Meg, you hear it in her voice, you hear it, she sort of wears it constantly in her brand.
Sure.
But does Travis get appreciated in Texas as a Texas artist?
Absolutely. I mean, you can even look at, the Astro World, that big event that he has. It's it's a movie. Like, it's a movie outside, and I think people just respect the fact that he's left of center of tradition, and I kind of embody that in the same way. You hear elements of Dallas, Texas, and things in my music, but I'll also get asked, like, are you from Brooklyn? Like, or some shit. Are you from LA? Like, you're a little left of center to what tradition is. But I think people respect the fact that real is respected always. And, well, most of the time. I just say always. Most of the time.
Most of the time.
And people respect that he's being his most authentic self, and that's what it is.
Yeah, shouts to Travis Scott. Now, by the way, I believe congratulations are in order. Did you pop the question?
Yeah.
This like last week, like 3 days ago?
Yeah.
Yo, bro, congratulations.
Appreciate it.
What do you have a plan yet, or are you guys just sort of figuring it out? You put the ring on her finger, and now you'll figure it out down the line.
Yeah, we've been together a long time. I think from a legal perspective, I believe we've been married on some common law type shit.
Right.
For a long time. This is just getting the LLC version of what has already existed in our relationship for a very long time.
Well, congratulations. How did the proposal go well?
Yeah.
What was the plan?
Well, really, we were technically engaged before Instagram got before announced. Yeah.
So that was just a celebratory photo.
It was more like the ring and just things were just different than how it originally went.
So there was an original, more casual proposal, is what you're saying?
Yeah, one that was off the internet. That was just a moment between me and her.
Right, got it.
Yeah.
Just one of those. Did it happen organically?
Yeah, it did.
Like you didn't even have a plan in place; it just happened.
Yeah, it was an energy. Just it was a day, and we went to a place that's very special to us, and I proposed there, and she said, like, after the fact, she just felt like an energy that it was gonna happen there, and it was like we've been in sync for a very long time, and it's just now with manifesting and taking every area of my life to the next level. I don't want to advance in my music career and then procrastinate with advancing in our relationship.
I figured I pushed on that, finding out what the story was, because I figured we were going to get a story about energy and it feeling right. I just wanted to make sure that it was just in line with everything that you've displayed yourself to be as a person so far. That seemed right. So then what'd you do for the picture that's on the internet? Was that just like you took her to dinner and gave her the actual ring?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, that's very exciting, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
What else are you into? Before I get to what else you're into, you said Jay-Z is your favorite MC of all time.
Without question.
So
by a mile.
Why? What make? Because listen, you know, Jay-Z has become just like such a star that, you know, people don't even always talk about why he's great, because he just is. It's like, you know, the sun doesn't need to be discussed. It's here.
Right.
But let's really break down what makes the sun the sun. Mm-hmm. Why is Jay-Z, for you, 29-year-old artist, writer, Bobby Sessions, why does he speak to you the way he does?
Because to me, he won the game. He won the game of, like, he's the best to me at, or when I think of being successful, or imagine his future for myself of being successful at the music business, he's the best blueprint to follow, because there's people that they focus on art and they don't necessarily take care of their business, and there's artists that take care of their business,
but their art's trash.
Their art is trash, and it's just like the whole I guess calling card, or the thing that they hang their hat on is, I take care of my business and I own this and I own that, but you own music that's whack. Like
that's the part, and that's when the annoying purist like me, you know, end up not being a fan, because I'm like, well, yeah, great. The whole thing isn't business though.
Yeah,
it can't just be business, or you're trash.
Yeah, that's, you know, we say mid, like that's just that mid. That's that mid pack, and I don't believe, I have a thing like mid makes me sick. Mediocrity makes me sick. Like I just can't be around mediocrity. Like, as long as the business is good, I don't care about the art. Like, I care about being great. I want my shit to be in a fucking museum. And when I think of Jay-Z, when he did art, and when he was handling his business, he was handling his business. Like,
which was like his business was so ill, it was almost an art in and of itself.
It is an art. It's
and and by the way, like I'm someone. This is what speaks to it so much. So like I'm not as into business as others are. I think it comes from a little bit of white privilege because I didn't grow up with a lot, but I grew up with never thinking about, the come up. And in fact, it's hindered me business wise, to be honest. I'm kind of a worker bee. I do lots of work. My business mind is not that sharp, to be honest. I know my limitations. I'm not saying I'll never get it right, but it's not my forte. Mm-hmm. So I don't think with Hove, his business speaks to me that much. Like I'll hear about Hove did another deal for $1 gazillion. And at this point I'm like, all right, man, it's great. Right. But for me, I'm the music person.
Yeah.
But the music's so enough.
Yeah.
You can choose to just take the music.
Yeah. Or
just take the business. And then, as you said, when you take all of it, you'll like this. I told the story on the air this week for the first time that me and my girlfriend just hit a year since the first day I DM'd her, actually, which is so millennial of me. I'm post-millennial, but we have a
this
DM.
Is what it is in 2020.
It's a DM slide anniversary.
It's what it is.
It's what it is. But this is when I saw her on FaceTime. It was like dark in her room and she started rapping every word for this record on FaceTime. I was like, oh, this is something. And I would play this for many people. If I'd even played this for myself back then, I would have been like, I don't remember what this is. But since you're a Hove guy, you'll appreciate it. It was this.
Classic.
I was like, what record is this again? She was like, what? It's Blueprint 2.
Bring the flutes in.
Yeah.
If she rapped that word for word, that's a keeper.
And when it gets to verse 2, I mean,
yeah.
There's only one whack thing about this song, and you won't admit it because you're a Jay-Z purist. But you know what I'm going to say?
Let's hear it.
Just wait for a second. It's coming.
Yeah.
You'll hear it. It's the part where I'm like, he used to do this. At this time, he had a tendency to do things like this.
Yeah.
It was to be cute, and in retrospect, I just let it play. Here we go.
Is it OB hey?
Yeah, it's that. Yep. It doesn't hold up to me later. You'd have to explain it to someone. You'd be like, well, it's Austin Powers.
Yeah.
But when you jump to verse 2,
oh, he's cooking.
And this is with whom you want place your faith. I put dollars on mine, ask Columbine. When the Twin Towers dropped,
I was the first in line.
Donating proceeds of every ticket sold. When I was out on the road, that's how you judge hope. No, ain't I supposed to be absorbed myself? Every time it's a tragedy.
I'm the first one to help.
All right, so I'm gonna play you some J records and I'll get your reaction.
Let's get it.
And then I'll try to play you a couple you may not know. How about that?
Let's do it.
Let's see. I'm seeing stuff that's all right. What does this make you think?
Yeah, I mean, like, I gotta be like
this is this makes me think of Manifestation. He's cause it's like,
of course it does.
Cause it's like almost shitting on a person that's not in the people that it's like a foreshadow of like the Instagram era. Like everybody posts their highlights. Everybody's putting on facades. Everybody's saying they're players, but these are imaginary players. This ain't. Y'all ain't manifested. It's almost like some fake it till you make it type shit, as opposed to really aspiring to.
Yo, that's
yeah. Right, that's what I get when I hear that.
What is this?
Shit's real right here. Rockefeller, lock, taking the streets over, motherfucker.
I feel like I heard this like maybe twice in my life.
Really? This is a big New York one.
Yeah. Oh, nah. Okay. Maybe 4 times. Maybe 4 times.
Oh, beans.
Pop your grammar, locked in the slammer. Nope, popped up in Atlanta, cropped up in the dropper, popped up the antenna. Whoa, watch your manners when my veins pop like scanners, like raindrops. You hear the thunder when I cock the cannon. Big things, big chains, ain't chains. Get brain in the 4.6 range. Man, switch lanes every time I hit switch lanes. slip big cane, flow with no cut. You take it in vain to the brain. Motherfuckers is nodding and throwing up. You know that. You don't wanna owe that man. He'll hit you. Get the picture? Kodak man got a love for war. I don't floss no more. I just sit on my money till I'm above the law. How the fuck you gonna stop us with your measly asses? We don't stop at the tolls. We got easy passes. Multiple cars and divas with D classes.
Yo.
I love that it was a stunt that he had Easy Pass back then. Yo, he stunted by saying we have Easy Pass. We got Easy Pass. What about this one?
I sit on. Oh, come on. This is like.
Is this the most recent Hove classic?
Damn. No, I would say maybe off of a song that's predominantly his. I felt like his. I think his "What's Free" verse came after this, and his verse on "What It Feels Like" with Nipsey.
Oh yeah,
that's a classic verse. But of his records, I would say yeah, for sure.
But what does that make record? What do you think about it when it came out, or what do you think of when you hear it now?
To me, this is I think of the beginning of the era of larger hair Hove. Like,
yo, this is going to be an era. You're right. The hair is going to be an era.
No, it's an era. It's an era of Jay-Z, and to me, the story of OJ is the genesis of that era.
Ooh, that's you're right.
Yeah, it is. Like when I think of like really 444, that whole it's the beginning of a new kind of.
But that song specifically on that album, because a lot of it's about relationship. A lot of it's about, but that's about that mindset.
Yeah.
The mindset that goes with the hair, that all comes together. Yeah. You're right. It is on four. That is the joint.
Generational wealth and us, him really being big and champion. I can't say this fucking word. Being big on financial literacy and putting that in the music, and for us as a people being able to take care of ourselves and do for self and create generational wealth. I think that song is the beginning of that. Even though he's talked about these things way before OJ, but that being the central focus, I think the beginning of that was with that song in particular.
What about this?
This is this Kingdom Come.
Nah, this is off American Gangster.
American Gangster. Okay, yeah.
The Pharrell produced Blue Magic.
Blue Magic. American Gangster as a whole, I think has aged great.
Yeah.
This isn't my favorite song
wait
on
for
that
it.
album.
Wait for this part though.
Yeah.
Pharrell, I just think Pharrell body, but I'm sorry, but this isn't your favorite joint off of.
No, it's not my favorite one. The record is extremely solid, but it's not my favorite one off the album, no, for sure.
And I had another one in my mind that I wanted to play you that for some reason I just changed record. Let me give you a couple real quick that maybe you haven't heard. You ever heard this?
Believe it or not, I love all player haters. Ain't no love lost here, baby.
I never heard this song. Pop it.
Let's see if you can figure out who's rapping first. Well, that's Lord Tariq. I don't expect you to guess that one. That's Lord Tariq. Let's see if you can guess who raps next. You said you're into sports, right?
This ain't Shaq.
Oh, it sure is Shaq.
Shaq is a fucking legend.
Yo, man, Shaq's a legend.
He's really a legend, like.
And he's got Hove on his record. Here we go.
Looking at me all funny while I'm counting my money surprised. What I do is already legalized. Analyze what I toss across. Ain't no love lost.
Show, everything's for dough now. Flow, y'all gotta pay a little more now. Platinum nowadays, we put the gold down.
Facts.
We stepped it up, y'all don't ever want a showdown. Get wetted up by the sleeve that leave the best out. Y'all don't like it, sue me. Got settled out, ghettoed out in the vehicle bin. These days I mellowed out, see success make a fella content.
And Shaq got a record with Biggie too, right?
Yeah, Shaq has a Biggie. I think he might have a Mob too. All right, last one. And this either will mean a lot to you, which would be awesome, or you won't really know it, which would be awesome. I'm excited either way. Do you know this?
I want to go on a little bit, man.
Is this the Hot 97 freestyle?
Yeah,
of course.
Dear Summer?
Yeah, classic.
700%. Yeah, I put my verse on your records. I want 700%. I'm coming in for
This is
700%.
I might buy Koch. Yeah.
No, this isn't I Might Buy Koch, I don't think, though.
Okay, let's hold up.
I don't think it's that one.
Young Guns,
The emergence.
This is what he says. Came out the boot. Superman's alive. It's that one.
Okay.
He had just gotten
Is
back
that the
from
one where
Europe.
he's fighting ghosts? Oh, yeah,
No.
Okay, that's a different one. Okay,
This is he had. I believe the story is he just gotten literally had just gotten back from a trip to Europe. We're talking like mid to early 2000s, and is just feeling himself in that different energy of like, I'm going somewhere else.
Okay, yeah, let's
Here
run
you
it.
go, listen.
Let's run it.
You playing the bang, I'm playing the bang too.
Oh, yeah.
You saying my name, it's sync. Hold on.
Funk Master Flex.
Yeah.
Funk Master Flex.
Yo, he just finds a swagger that's so. It just gives me chills.
Can I? Y'all got me? You playing the bang, I'm playing the bang too. You playing the games, I'm seeing the thing through. You saying my name to entertain your crew. I ain't playing no games, shots exchange through. Fresh off probation, I got a charge to throw away. My lawyer say for 80 larger to go away. And I ain't no money to Jay, so you could get it broad day on Broadway while TRL taping. You playing the game, you know you ain't gonna win. Quit playing them childish games with grown men. I don't give a about cars or chrome rims. I got apartments you could put your home in. Can I live?
Yeah, I remember this.
Yo,
I think I confused it with the other one, but I do.
I know
yeah.
this
Put my verse on your records,
in this bar. Him just talking shit here.
I keep going to enough room. Boy, trap money like beer hunters. Dear summer, I know y'all gonna miss me. Cause we go together like Nike Airs and Swiss tees. S-Dots and
Polo
Polo
fleeces.
fleeces. Purple label
With the logo secret, yeah.
Give me a couple years.
I might just sneak in.
A couple words and like peaches and herb. We'll be reunited and it feels so hood. How the whole world saying
How he's still so good.
While I do this in my slumber.
Summer.
I ain't none of these half-ass newcomers.
You know how I do summer.
I drop heat when you bring the sun up. The combo make niggas sack up.
I pick the gun up.
Back up.
They know I'm not no fronter.
I don't talk shit, I just flip it on ya. Sorry, Lance, I'm just trying to advance my quotes.
I ain't making you the butt of my jokes.
But let's not stray from what I came to say to my beloved.
Think we need some time away. They say if you love it.
You should let it out as cage and it. If it comes back, you know it's there to stay. It's tugging at my heart, but this time a part is needed from the public who should have gave me the pullets, but instead gave me the
Ass to kiss, but you know me.
Dug into the casket dips.
But still shine light down on all my peers. I know they weird. Some queer, I still want them to share in all the success I receive. I
know you can't believe I still love them, but they don't love me.
They like the drunk uncle in your family. You know they lame, feel the same, still you love them the same. Like when cats make
Subliminal records.
You know
If it
they
ain't.
can't wreck me, I don't respect it. You don't really want it with hold for the record. I put a couple careers on hold.
You could be next, kid.
You keep entering the danger zone. You gonna make that boy hold.
Put your name in the song.
If you that hungry for fame,
Come on.
Say when.
Take 10 paces and spin.
But on another note, about to take another vacay
On another boat.
Damn, a motherfucker rode his way out the hood. And I pray that I stay out for good. But any day you know a nigga could try to play like he should. Then I gotta play like Dutch shoot you.
Pass the Dutchie, I blast you, trust me.
Me.
I'm in a good mood, y'all lucky. I'm in a good groove.
And I ain't trying to mess my thing up, but I will
We'll lay down a couple green bucks to get you cleaned up.
Yo, that's-
Coke 450 and young niggas that blasphemy.
No religion. Classic shit.
Yo, man.
Classic shit, yeah. That does mean something to me.
Right? It does. Well, and that's the thing. There's so much of it that it's easy to be like, wait, which one? I mean, like sometimes there's middle J albums where I would get confused about what goes where.
Sure.
But and I'm critical of Jay's albums. Like, you know, he's not, his body of works aren't always perfect. But when you look at everything that's there, and you have to stop grading him. This is a message to myself. I don't know why I'm saying it to you. It's really to me.
Mm-hmm.
I need to stop grading him against every single album, and also stop grading him against old school artists who put out 3 albums, 4 albums, 5 albums, and I'm like, oh, their body of work's perfect. You can only compare him to artists, to rock legends who have put out albums over 40 years.
Right.
We didn't have rappers to compare him to who had careers this long,
Right.
where you're like, well, I don't know about his 15th album. It's not as good as number 7.
Right.
Because we're used to people, it's like, yo, my favorite group's Tribe Called Quest. They had 5 albums. That's it. It was a career.
Right.
It's over. Whereas, or now ended in the end it's 6. But like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I view the albums within Jay-Z's catalog that people believe are not his best bodies of work, and the people that judge those, I feel that's not fair the same way people judge LeBron James finals losses.
That's a great way, because there's so many.
It's like bro, I'm in the fucking finals.
Always.
I'm in the finals. It's just like if you are making it to the pinnacle of something over and over and over, there's times where just things are not going to be perfect each time, as opposed to someone that goes to the finals twice and they win both times and like, well, at this moment they're perfect. It's just like, bro, I got 15 albums.
Well, that's the thing. We're going to even end up saying that about MJ. Excuse me. It's like 6 for 6. When it's all done with LeBron, we're going to be talking about 12, 13 final strips.
I look at it like this. It's like, yes, you were 6 for 6, but you played 15, 16 seasons, I believe. So less than half of the time you were in the finals.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock, because the teams that you were losing to before you got over the hump to get to the finals, what your teams were not best equipped to handle those teams the same way.
Although I would argue some of LeBron's teams haven't been best equipped, and he still made it to the finals.
They haven't, but people don't want to hear that. But he's somebody that, and I view him and Jay-Z in the same light. Like, people love to normalize greatness. A bad Jay-Z's album would be the best album in 99% of rappers' catalog. It's the facts. It's the facts. Meaning 99% of people that wake up every day calling themselves a rapper.
A rapper, right.
Yeah.
Maybe not better than 99% of the other greats.
Exactly.
But then,
Yeah, I don't mean that,
but
yeah.
of the ones who just are professional rappers.
And if we were taking all of Jay-Z's best songs throughout the totality of his catalog, and you condensed them to 4 albums, they would be.
Oh, what?
It's like, all right, so
Yeah. No, but by the way, same criticism I have of Drake, right? Like Drake, Hove's different. He has bona fide classics. Drake, I don't know about his bona fide classics, but I know if you take the best 50 Drake joints up against everything, it's tough.
Drake would ruin somebody's life in a versus, bro.
Oh no,
Like he would ruin.
I think Hove might be the only person who.
And Kanye.
Oh, Kanye. Yeah, Kanye for sure. Yeah. But I got to tell you, I don't know who outright easily beats Drake.
I don't either.
Now, for me,
Sure.
Personally,
Yeah.
he would get mopped by Hove and Kanye because I am more into their best records than Drake's best records.
Sure.
But I'm generationally more appropriate for them.
Yeah.
So for someone your age, not you because you're a Hove stan, but for someone else your age,
they're Drake.
That's Drake all day.
Yeah, Marvin's Room is gonna hit different than Big Pimpin' for people in my.
Whereas if you played Marvin's Room for me in a versus, I'd walk out of the room.
Yeah,
I'd be like, we crying during this versus right now? I can't do this. But there are other people, they would start crying and they'd be like, this is the best versus of all time. Have you met Hove yet?
I haven't, which is weird because I didn't expect that movie to play out in that way. I always thought I would meet him before I won a Grammy with him. But
wow,
yeah, that's crazy. But it's inevitable.
But by the way, that's also weird because he definitively knows who you are.
Mm-hmm, for sure. We share an asset together.
That's wild.
Yeah,
that he definitively knows you, but you haven't yet met. That's kind of cool though.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I feel like.
It's cooler that way.
And you got the Grammy, and it's a crazy accolade to get, but you also got it early. You know what I mean? Early in your journey.
Sure.
I mean, even though you've been in the game for a minute, still, you got more to do. You're dropping your debut album, Manifest,
We're in the
soon.
beginning.
So, this is the beginning. So, you don't need to... who else is up there that's out in the world of hip-hop legend-wise that if you saw, you'd be like, whoa, that's...
I mean, Jay... Nas, Eminem, of course. I've met Andre 3000 once, and he's pretty up there, but it would be a lot different now because it was literally 5 years ago. So I would like to re-link with him. It would be different than how it was then.
Do you feel a kinship with Andre 3000? Being someone who's from the South, who's from Texas specifically, which, I don't want to you can't just blur Texas into the South because Texas takes itself as its own animal altogether. But
I think
proud of where you're
from. Atlanta.
He's from Atlanta.
He's from Atlanta.
But you being from Texas.
Yeah.
Both of you being from the South and being proud of where you're from and what that's done for your style, but also having a sensibility that's much broader.
Sure. I definitely... That resonates for sure because he from his sonic approach, the pockets that he was in lyrically, the fashion he took, everything he did was left of center, but still universally like this is the shit. And I think that's definitely resonated because I know that I never was really an outcast, pun intended, like where I was at, but there I am different.
Yeah, but musically, when I hear you on record, you can hear vocally that you're not from New York or LA.
Yeah.
But it'd be hard to pinpoint where you're from, which is why I forgot when I saw you. I was like, you're from Atlanta, right? Like that's
Right,
actually probably why it went there.
Yeah.
And with Dre, he's so Atlanta, but he's also so much broader.
Right.
He's so many, you know,
Yeah.
he's just like such a worldly dude, hip hop wise, and everywhere.
Yeah, it's almost like I would describe it like we have broader musical approaches with Southern stories that relate to with stories that resonate in a global way.
Well, listen, that catchphrase is not going to make it onto any T-shirts, but it made sense to me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's for
That
sure.
is that because that is exactly what it is.
I would if I was to condense that, I would go off his Source Award shit with the South got
That's something to say. There you go.
That sums it up.
That's a better T-shirt. I mean,
Yeah,
you're going to sell more
it's
shirts like that.
definitely a better T-shirt.
Manifest is coming soon. You can still stream Bobby's music all over wherever you get your music, and then keep your eye open for that Manifest album. Is there anything else you can tell us about the album?
Yeah, that Manifest was made. Most of it was made in 10 days at Westlake Studios. At like Room Thriller was made, and a lot of like great albums was made because we were trying to tap into that energy. Again, we're talking about visualization and seeing something in the future. When we were making it, I was like, I thought about The Chronic, I thought about Doggy Style, I thought about Good Kid, Mad City, I thought about College Dropout, I thought about Reasonable Doubt, I thought about all of these debut albums that people talk about and have debates about, and I was like, if all of those albums transformed from like music and became like a person and they sat at a table, I want Manifest to comfortably sit at that table and everybody else at that table knows that it's supposed to have a seat there. Like that was the intention and that was the goal. And Manifest is the soundtrack to people manifesting their dreams. We describe it as like the Chronic of self-help. The space of people manifesting their dreams. This is like what The Chronic meant for people that grew up with that, and they're like, this is a great fucking album. That Manifest is that for the people that don't want to watch documentaries about manifestation and go to fucking seminars and see TED Talks. This is like a more musically entertaining version of things that have a lot of those stories. And it's like it's the Chronic of self-help.
Yeah, well, I would much rather, based on what I've heard of your music so far, I would much rather listen to a Bobby Sessions album to get help than like go sit in like a big, conference room with people who are trying to get their lives together.
For sure.
And by the way, you can combine the Chronic with the listening to this album. You could simultaneously smoke a blunt and listen to Manifest.
If you tuned out all of the lyrics, which it sounds funny saying that as a writer, but if you tune out all the lyrics, it's like a great sonic journey. Like it's an entertaining listen because for me being in different situations and being a part, like you take like something like Savage for example, what that felt like to me, that going number one and then getting a Grammy, it felt like being like a role player on a Super Bowl winning team or NBA Finals championship. So I got to experience certain things that I poured back into my music. I know what a hit feels like now, and I know how to take my messaging. Because a lot of times people have substance in their music, but it's a boring listen. I don't want to click your album and hear a speech. I can go to Barack Obama for that. You know what I'm saying? So it was real big. Like if you tune all the words out, it's just entertaining music. But the more you listen to it, the more
you'll pick up things.
You'll pick up things, and it'll start to just literally seep into your DNA.
His name is Bobby Sessions. He reps Dallas, Texas. Manifest coming soon. Thanks for coming by, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
Peace,
Thanks
yo.
for having me.
Yeah.